Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Racheal Wangui, and on behalf of International Education, we're joined by the staff from the Office of International Education. So we have Sonia Lind, we have Anessa Escobar, Omont Raka, and Almar. And today is a great day. We get to hear from our faculty who will be teaching abroad in the next coming terms. And so we have faculties coming in one at a time. And for this day, we're going to have we're going to start with Dr. Norman. But before I start, just going to give a little intro about the faculty-led programs. These are programs that are led by our own faculty. They teach classes that they would have taught here at CSUDH, but they teach them abroad. And so these classes are pretty affordable because you're paying at CSUDH, and also you get resident credit at CSUDH. So I'm going to start off with Dr. Norman. He is faculty here at CSUDH, and he's going to share about the courses he's planning to teach. I believe that there are 3 courses. So he's going to go over the courses and, of course, the itinerary and the cost. Welcome, Dr. Norman.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you putting this together. Happy International Education Week to everyone. And students, don't be afraid to raise your hand if you have questions. So I'm Professor Norman. I've been here 15 years, and I really am committed to growing our study abroad program. It was very important to me when I was an undergrad. My university helped me study one summer in Israel, sent me to what was formerly the Soviet Union, but not quite Russia, for a week to learn about Moscow and the Russian culture. And I got to go to Luxembourg to teach American government and had a nice trip to France, Luxembourg, Belgium. And I think we should have opportunities like that for all of our students. So what you might want to learn more about today, and I teach management within the College of Business, but I'm going to be offering 2 courses that are general education courses. So anybody could take these. If you've already taken the G course, well, you could just take it as an extra course. The one I'm going to talk about first is actually being offered this winter session, and would love to bring some more students. It's Global Ethics and Corporate Social Responsibility. I think we all could stand to learn, about ethics in the light of scandals at companies like Enron, things we've heard about Uber, and there seems to be a new scandal, unfortunately, almost every week. And yet we've also are learning how global we are with the supply chain crunch. COVID in China, lockdowns in those ports affected us here in Los Angeles, Long Beach, and really all of America, and how we deal with pandemics, how we deal with global warming. So those are issues we're going to look at through ethical lenses and look at them from a global perspective, understanding there's cultural differences too, and things that might seem clear-cut from an American point of view might have a very different approach in France and say Senegal. I've worked with students in Ethiopia, Cameroon, Taiwan, Hong Kong. There's lots of nuance you want to bring when we look at these things globally. So that's a little bit about the content. The way the course will be taught, though, the fun part is it's not going to be any examinations. I don't think you can, test on how to be ethical. You are going to write and you are going to discuss. You'll have many fewer papers because we'll be going to Bulgaria and learning about things from that Bulgarian context. We'll be located in Eastern and Central Europe, so we'll be learning about that context, and you'll hear stories of people who worked under the Soviet occupation of their country. We'll hear from younger people. We'll be doing field interviews with a mayor of one of their cities, a vice mayor of one of their cities, a leader of their largest foreign company, ABB. So we'll be understanding what is it like to be a Swedish company doing business in Bulgaria. We'll be meeting with local leaders. And so you'll get to actually hear what they have to say, and you'll get to ask them certain questions and work on the different little mini cases by talking directly with different leaders, government leaders, business leaders, and then employees, other students. We'll be visiting university to see how there are different perspectives on things. And in the evening, while we're having dinner, that'll be when you do some of your assessment. How nice is that, just to have a conversation with your professor on these topics. You will be doing a daily journal, so I want you to capture and remember some of these things. You will be doing a final paper. And, in some cases, we've even turned these papers into manuscripts. So if you're so inclined, I do mentor students on research, would love to see this at the Student Research Conference. That's an optional thing, but oftentimes these very small study abroad lead to close relationships with the professor, and I'm very open to doing that. So not only are you learning about the course, but you might find, hey, maybe I want to pursue graduate school someday. So that's a little bit about that. We'll be in Bulgaria 10 days. We'll be seeing the capital city of Sofia. We'll be staying most of our time in a small town called Stolat. We'll be going to a beautiful river city, Veliko Tarnovo, where there's the university. And we'll be visiting churches, museums, caves, doing a little bit of hiking. The weather will be cool, so maybe a little less hiking in the winter, but just having a great time in Bulgaria. Now, I have 2 Spring Intersession courses too that are the first few weeks of May. We'll be going back to Bulgaria, and we'll be doing more hiking because it's warmer. And then if you want, you could then stay with, and our sponsor will actually give you a free ticket if you do both, from Sofia to Sicily. But some of you will just be joining the Sicily portion. In Bulgaria, saying we've already studied ethics in Bulgaria, that course will be an Area E course called Entrepreneurship for Everyone. And there we'll be meeting with similar business leaders, a little more focus on business or government officials working on economic development. And one of your projects will be to help an existing business expand her or his business, or come up with a new business idea. The last time I taught this course, the United Nations had allocated a couple $100,000 to build a cafe that could create 3 or 4 jobs for Bulgaria. So the money's not for you, but it's an actual real budget that Rob and folks could use to create jobs. We also on that trip worked to help a honeybee farmer expand his production, so he's now comfortably taking care of his family. And I understand Stone and Compass is helping others with that. So we never know exactly which projects we'll get to contribute and help with, but what I think is so exciting is your ideas, right? Your marketing, your knowledge can be of great help to the people we're going to see in Bulgaria. And we'll be applying the entrepreneurship framework from Bill Olet. He's a top MIT professor, going through his steps, learning how you would build a business, spec that out, something you're interested in, and then we'll do an international case while we're in Bulgaria. And then the Sicily course, we would do that same global ethics and social responsibility course I mentioned. In Sicily, in Italian context, I have less information about who will meet there, but again, what a beautiful place to be, what a nice place to be the last 2 weeks in June. I want to be careful of my time because we've got the next person going on. I was told I could go 2 minutes over, but in a nutshell, that's as brief as I can be to try to get a few of you to meet with the wonderful staff here, meet with me, and join us on this trip. Okay, exceed my time. I know we've got Professor Keyantash coming up next. Thank you, Racheal.
You're welcome. I think you still have a little bit of time. It's from 2:40 to 2:50 if you want to still expand a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I guess we started early, so
yes.
I can expand. And let me just pause because I was going a little fast. Are there any questions from the students? Okay, I'm not seeing any. So,
Sorry,
okay.
Sorry, Norman, there is a question from Arwen. What's the name of the course?
Okay, so the course that I'm teaching in the winter in Bulgaria is called Business 200, or no, it's Management 200. I'm sorry, MGT 200, and that's called Global Ethics. Is how you'll find it: Global Ethics and Social Responsibility. And the other course I teach is Business, BUS 100, Entrepreneurship for Everyone.
Thanks for that. Arwen, was that helpful? If so, just let us know. Thanks. He said it was helpful.
Okay. So let me tell you a little bit more about why working with Stone and Compass is so exciting. Rob Goodwin's an alumni of Dominguez Hills. He offers these programs at almost half the cost you'll see for other universities, and he's very well connected. So he's actually a member on the board of one of the United Nations, boards that does charitable giving, which is why I was able to mention the money that he's received to do projects, helping to develop economic development, as well as when, if you are aware of what our occupational therapy faculty are doing, some really great work building clinics. So the clinics aren't my expertise, the business side is. But on the last visit, we met with some UN officials, and we've met with other students of the program who have, that's a good question. Other students, some of whom were high school students who actually continued to stay involved. They were so touched, it so affected their lives. They wanted to help with these projects, what we call service learning here at Dominguez Hills. And several students have actually spoken on the floor of the United Nations in New York City about the good work that we're doing. So I think it's a really, my goal is for one of you as students to fall in love with the project in Bulgaria or fall in love with the project in Sicily, and commit some of your life to maybe spending the summer there, doing an internship, getting connected, and would love to proudly watch you on YouTube, or probably not on live TV, but watch you speak before the United Nations to encourage our world leaders to take some of the innovative ideas that you, the youth, the future, have to help these rural areas. The commonality is that we are looking at the fact that many rural areas in these countries are suffering because with the collapse of communism, the opportunities for the college-educated, the well-educated students move to the city of Sofia, or if you're in the European Union, right, maybe to Paris, maybe to Brussels, other spots, causing a brain drain and actually leaving many of these cities without that key talent. So you might be surprised to see an airport that looks untouched from about 1991. That's a possible opportunity we'll work on. We had some business ideas there because the only vending machine they had was a broken kind of old coffee machine. Think of what if you went with me, you would recommend Coca-Cola or a Pepsi, right? You could make hundreds of euros on one of those machines, even though that's unhealthy. Probably should promote soda. Toiletries, an ATM machine, right? Access to money. There are lots of things you think of. You could just think of your experience in America and say, hey, what could we apply here? And help the managers of that airport realize how they've got a great resource here. With some tweaks, they could bring more folks from Europe into their region, make more money, and start to promote tourism, because it is a wonderful place, as you'll hear from the next speaker, right? The hiking, the geography, there's a lot of reason for people to visit. They just don't necessarily have all the economic infrastructure that we might be accustomed to, or parts in Western Europe are. I think we should get to the question about FAFSA. I was just talking to Dr. Solly, but I'll let the expert speak about that. One of the things I have learned, talk to your financial aid advisor, and I'll let other experts answer the question about, would FAFSA cover the travel and course, the financial aid?
Yes, I can help answer that. When it comes to financial aid and studying abroad during the Spring Intersession, these students can get their financial aid cover their Spring Intersession. So the way it works, students have to enroll in the Spring Intersession courses before February 14th. And if you look at our academic calendar, it does have that information. So student would need to let the financial aid know that I'm planning to study abroad during Spring Intersession, and I would like to know whether I have any funding available. So it doesn't hurt to go ahead and ask, even though you're still thinking about it, but it's always good to check with the experts, that is the financial aid office. I think that we come to the end of Dr. Norman's presentation. I have more information that has to do with the itinerary. If you'd like to get a copy of that, just let me know so that you can know what's going to be happening day by day when you travel abroad with Dr. Norman. And that is for his 3 classes, the winter session and the 2 Spring Intersession courses, one offered in Bulgaria and the other one in Italy. Thank you so much, Dr. Norman.
My pleasure.
Thank you. So our next presenter is Dr. John Keyantash. I'm just trying to get to his page very quickly. Here he is. So we have Dr. John Keyantash. He is a geography professor, and he's going to talk about his course that he plans on teaching in Bulgaria during Spring Intersession. And the title of the course is Water Sustainability and Geodiversity in the Balkans. Welcome, Dr. Keyantash.
All right, thank you so much. All right, well, I'm enthused to think about what's coming up in Spring Intersession for me after listening to Dr. Norman's presentation. There are a lot of similarities of great things that are translate among the different courses that students can take. One of the things that also I'm going to throw out that you may not have considered, but whatever course you decide to sign up for, there are opportunities for some cross-pollination with other faculty who are there. The dinner times where we all gather around, we share times in vans. Some of the activities we do, multiple courses will do the same activity the same day. And in fact, some of those are some of the highlights from my itinerary too. So it really is a rich experience. In the case of my course, it's a geography course, Geography 495, a special topics course on water sustainability and geodiversity. And in this course, we will travel around Bulgaria, looking at fine examples of water resources and how they are protected by the Bulgarians and what steps can be taken to help improve their protection. I did want to ask Racheal, I have some slides. If I can show those, I can kind of narrate over those as I go, if that would
Definitely.
be all right.
I think that would be great.
Okay, great. I'll go ahead and do that then. Let's make sure I have the ability to screen share. Yeah, I do.
Okay, great.
Great. Yeah, let me do that. I'll try not to get too lost in PowerPoints, but I think it will. Sometimes pictures do the finest justice to the things that we can describe. So let me share the slideshow here. Okay, can you see that picture of a waterfall there? Yes, all right, thank you, Ken. I see a thumbs up, great.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right, great. So this particular, this is one of the features which we will visit. This is a waterfall. Let's see if I can, change the screen here a little bit so that I'm looking at you guys. Otherwise my head's cranked around the other direction. There we go. Okay, so in this course, I'm going to target sustainable use of water in Bulgaria. Bulgaria is blessed with water, an abundant water supply, including some impressive geothermal water resources. But there's a lot of similarities between what we see in Bulgaria, and particularly in its climate, and what we would find in California and other parts of the world. So we're going to be talking about what resources what the specific physical geography is of some of these special resources, and then how unique they are, kind of to look at their special geodiversity. And we'll talk about a broader subject of geodiversity as it applies to the protection of natural resources around the world. So we're going to be going into see waterfalls. We're going to spend time on a river, explore some impressive caves, go in hot springs, and then also see some cultural icons like cathedrals and museums, and even some very impressive ancient ruins. So I'm going to jump to the next slide here. We have our stay will be at the 2,200-acre Stone and Compass Center, and we will be doing a service learning component to this class. That is, we are going to be, in addition to seeing great things and sightseeing and expanding your horizons, we're going to put our skills into practice and try to use geographic tools and techniques to explore and inventory some of the resources that are available at the center in Stolat. And through a series of field activities, we're going to try and create some maps and have a better understanding what these things are. This is something that will help out Stone and Compass tremendously, as well as the surrounding community, and gives you a great opportunity as a student to put some of the things you've learned in the classroom into direct practice in Bulgaria. So we will be our Stone and Compass location somewhere out in here, I believe, is Stolat. Stolat doesn't appear on this map, but it's in this sort of in the center of the country. And Sofia, of course, is the capital where we will be landing, and we will take, in our trip, we'll take a detour down to the southwest and then eventually head over to Stolat, where we'll spend most of our time as a base of operations. So that tour of Sofia is very rich culturally. We'll see museums, we'll see the European streets of this ancient city, which had its origins from the time of the Romans. And then we will head out to the countryside. One of the things, not the next day, but one of the things on our trip will be a visit to a very impressive cave. There's this enormous skylight in it, and the cave goes back very far. And in fact, the anthropologists faculty who have looked in here have reported that this cave has had human occupants for hundreds of thousands of years. There's evidence of that. There's culturally a very impressive castle, which we're going to visit in the city of Veliko Trnovo, which is not necessarily related to our water resources, but it's nonetheless a highlight of the trip to Bulgaria. We will be doing whitewater rafting in this course, and if you have no experience with that, that's okay. So we're going to go to the town of Bansko and spend some time on a wild river, and that'll set the stage for us to kind of consider what some of the multiple dimensions of water protection, because it's not simply water directly for agriculture and other things. There's also tourism and environmental considerations for protecting these resources. Near the end of our trip, we'll be visiting the second largest city of Bulgaria, Plovdiv, and this city's famous for its topography. There's these 7 hills around it, and also in the upper right is an amphitheater that was unearthed years ago during an excavation. It's now a major tourist venue, and international artists have performed there, such as Sting. So this is one of the interesting things we'll see in the central city of Plovdiv near the end of our trip. We're going to visit some waterfalls and talk about the geology of travertine deposits and how these get formed and sustained and morphed over time. We will also visit an ethnographic museum where there's all sorts of ingenious water implements to extract maximum power out of water and use sustainable energy in an old-fashioned way. Very ingenious. We'll visit these impressive Roman ruins, which have been excavated, and there's guides that can show us around and explain what we're seeing on the landscape. This is probably an activity that will be done with other groups. And then the lodging, each night we'll rest and relax at the Stone and Compass Center in Stolat. And this is what it looks like: rustic buildings, but restored and renovated to very comfortable, modest surroundings. And in fact, there's even a not so modest swimming pool outside, which outdoor pool that we can frolic in at the end of a hot day. And so it's all in all a very good time at the center, and all costs are accounted for here. There was a monastery, a fantastic monastery here also, which is a UN World Heritage Site. I don't know if we'll get to visit that site or not, but it's a highlight of the trip to Bulgaria. Costs, I know, are a factor, and the costs for this class are, I think, similar to some of the other courses. There's a flat charge for the staying at the Stone and Compass Center, all the travel, the translators, the food. It's all lumped into one economical price. There is a Dominguez Hills tuition for the class for 3 units that you will earn. Students in our major will be able to use that class as a major elective for their degree programs. And then there's some fixed costs that the university requires to be involved in the program. The biggest variable probably is the unknown of what is the cost of airfare. But if people keep their eyes open, then they can get airfare in the upper hundreds of dollars, or maybe we can say conservatively $1,200, who knows. But probably you're looking at a total cost for the participation of less than $4,000 for really an out-of-this-world experience in the beautiful country of Bulgaria. So that's all I had for the slideshow there, and I'm happy to take any questions that people might have. Are there any? I think that was my 10 minutes also, so.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much, Dr. Keyantash. And for those students who are interested in taking that class, please let us know, and we'll send you the information of the faculty and the course information. And so our next presenter is Dr. Giacomo Bono, and he is going to talk about his psychology course that he plans on teaching in Sicily, Italy. And so welcome, Dr. Bono. If you have a presentation or a slide that you'd like to to share with us, let us know.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. And yeah, I'm excited to be here and to start planning ahead, planning for the good stuff in our life. Yes, I would like to present just a flyer and maybe my syllabus, if that's helpful.
Yeah. Okay.
Or share screens, rather.
Sure.
All right. Very good. Let me go ahead and open up. Sorry, give me 1 sec. I shall open up the flyer. It was just made, so I haven't even downloaded it from the email yet. All right. Okay. There we go. So, all right. Well, my name is Giacomo Bono. I'm a professor in psychology. I teach a lot of research methods, but my expertise is in the science of well-being and how we develop well-being and resilience. Yeah, for sharing that. And so I'm excited for lots of reasons for the class that I'm teaching, because it is in Sicily, and I am myself a Sicilian. So anyway, the class will be in my homeland, and I'm very excited about that opportunity to be able to use my experience as a bicultural, because I work and live in the United States, and I mostly, at this point, I mostly go to Italy to see family, but I do also, I'm looking forward to this class in particular because it's going to be focused on well-being, which is my research area, and it's going to give me a chance to use my background as a bicultural Sicilian to really create, I think, an amazing experience. So let me go ahead and share my screen so I could show you what I'm talking about. All right. So anyway, I'll be sending this flyer along, but here is the basic idea. So there's Sicily, I think. Let's see, is that too small? Or maybe this is perfect right here. Very good. So here's so there's the flyer, and it tells you a little bit about the class. Oh, sorry, hang on. It's a PDF. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so the class will be, there's an itinerary associated with this that several of the CSUDH classes will be doing, but the basic idea is we'll be starting in Palermo, which is right next to the H there, and we'll be circumnavigating Sicilia. So then we'll go along the coast, the north coast there. We'll be learning about some of the history and the beaches, including taking a swim in the beautiful beaches that are right there just next to Palermo. We'll be crossing through Cefalù. So just some beautiful beaches there. And then we'll get to, you can see where Messina is in the right corner. But basically going around the whole circumference there, and then in Catania is where Mount Etna is. You can see that a little bit, but we'll be visiting there. And my class is going to be specifically focused on the traditions and foods that contribute to well-being. And so it very much is about embracing the voyage. And so all the experiences will be tied in, and we'll learn some of the principles of cross-cultural psychology to sort of process these experiences by making comparisons with our own culture in the US. So, what are the traditions and foods in the US that contribute to well-being, and how does that look different compared to Sicily? So anyway, that's sort of the focus of my class. And it'll give you a chance to learn about cross-cultural psychology, some of the basic topics in cross-cultural psychology. So it's designed to give you some of the basics of cross-cultural psych, but also to really process the experiences that we'll be having going through this voyage together. So let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen for 1 second so that I could pull up. And you'll see, and again, this flyer is going to get, in fact, what I could do is I could attach it. Maybe while I'm not sharing my screen, I could send that in the chat so that you have it. Oh, cool. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Rachel, can you, you can share the flyer. So very good. So she can send that in the chat. Let me go ahead and open up my class and my syllabus and the itinerary so that I can give you a walk through that as well. Okay. Okay. I think, why will the itinerary not open? Well, anyway, oh, here we go.
I have the itinerary app if you want me to.
That's okay. I was just wanting something to show right now.
Okay.
I have a million windows open up, and for some reason, both documents were not opening. Okay, so so here's, so as far as the experiences go, here's the itinerary, and again, the flyer that that Rachel is sending in the chat, it has a link to both of these documents that I'm sharing with you here. So so here's the itinerary, but the basic ideas will we'll start off in Rome. However, I will be going to a wedding in Sicily, so I'm going to miss this first day. And I believe Professor Barrett is the other psychology professor that's also going to be in Sicily with us. So I'm going to ask Professor Barrett to hopefully accompany our students on the flight to Rome, and so I'll be missing the 18th. But at least I won't be flying there together because I'll already be there in Sicily. But then I will meet up with you in Rome on the 19th, and hopefully even for the dinner on the evening of the 18th. But let's see, let's get to the fun stuff. So here's you'll see in the itinerary sort of detailed, a little bit more detail about the different experiences that we'll be having. But I'll tell you right now, it is very much a smorgasbord of amazing food and experiences about the good life. And my class is very much focused on the science behind the good life and how these traditions and these foods contribute to the good life. And we'll be thinking about that in Italy and seeing how they do that, right? How they support the good life through traditions and foods. And then we'll be thinking about how we do that differently in the US. But these are some of the experiences. Whoops, sorry about that. But these are some of the experiences that we'll be going through on the trip. So yeah, we'll start off in Rome and we'll do a little bit of that, just one day, but then we go down to Palermo and we'll spend a few days there. And anyway, I'm not going to get into all the details, but because you can read it, you can follow up and look at these details yourself. But then we'll go to just southwest of Palermo, and we'll go to Trapani and Monterice, which has some amazing views of the the whole corner of the top left corner of Sicily. It has an amazing view, this castle on top of this mountain. That's what Erice is. We'll be visiting there and learning about some of the arts and crafts that they do there, and looking at this medieval village on a mountain. And then we'll go down the mountain to the salt flats, which are nearby in Trapani. And anyway, so that's something I'm excited about. But then we'll look at cultural sources of well-being as well. So just looking at puppeteering and storytelling and how that brings meaning into the lives of people. In Ortigia, we have one of the oldest villages in Sicily. Anyway, it's again, you can read all about it, but we'll continue looking at visiting these sites and seeing all the historical sites and learning about the history and some of these foods. So Noto is amazing. It looks like a picture. I mean, it's just so beautiful, like beyond words. So going to Ortigia, Noto, and Modica. Modica is where they make chocolate. We'll be tasting chocolate and considering how chocolate is different there, and how chocolate is part of the foods there and part of the good life. Anyway, we'll even do a cooking class. So again, my class is designed to give you an introduction to cross-cultural psychology, but it very much embraces our experiences. We'll be going to Mount Etna and learning about pistachios and the particular wines that are made there, and the particular olive oils that are made there that are influenced by the soils that have volcanic ash. Just beautiful, amazing, life-changing. And I can't wait to be able to provide these experiences to our students, and to be able to combine not only my research expertise, but my background, it's who I am. I am very much a passionate Sicilian. I live and preach everything that I do research on. I'm an avid cook and all that, and I even speak Sicilian. So I'm very excited to go and sort of be an important figure there for our courses, because I'll be helping to translate and just get a sense of the cultural history and all that stuff. So, all right, sorry, I went over my minutes, but I think that's the heart of everything I wanted to share with you. And you can always check out my syllabus and the itinerary for more details. But if I have time, I'm happy to answer questions. All right.
Okay.
Well, I hope that I've piqued your curiosity and your intrigue. Ask Santa for some money to go to Sicily and Rome, and plan ahead. Hopefully we'll know more about other financial supports. One last thing I will say is, if you wanted to take 2 classes, we'll have, you'll see on my flyer that we have a cross-cultural lifespan development class as well. So, you could take both classes on the same trip and get 2 electives taken care of. So anyway, and you save, I believe, $1,000 because you just pay the program fee once. You don't have to pay twice for 2 classes. So it's a savings that way. And you can take care of 6 units all in 2 weeks. It's pretty amazing. So
Okay.
anyway, sorry to hog up the time, everyone, but hopefully that's all useful general info.
We still have some grace period, so don't worry about it. Thank you so much, Dr. Bono. We appreciate for sharing with everyone about your exciting program in Italy. I think I'm gonna have to whisper to Santa this coming December.
Yes.
Yeah, so that'll be exciting. Wow, it sounds so exciting. So
excellent. I'm even gonna have my 18-year-old son join us in the class. I think
that'd
he
be so
might even
cool.
take my class. Get some
that would
college
be
credit.
nice. Oh, that would be definitely be wonderful.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. So our next and our last faculty to present is Dr. Ken Seligson, and he is going to talk about his anthropology course that he is co-teaching with Dr. Sarah Taylor. And so welcome, Dr. Seligson.
Thank you so much, Rachel. And thank you everyone for being here today. Thank you for allowing me to participate. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen quickly because I also have a few slides I like to share. Always good to have some visuals. I just froze. Great.
And also to
right,
let you know, Dr. Seligson, we still have time. So
okay.
don't rush. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Just a few things to share. So thank you again, Rachel. As Rachel mentioned, I'm going to be co-teaching this summer version of our Anthropology 334 course, Mesoamerica Past and Present, which is a GE course in the area D3. Dr. Taylor is the chair of our anthropology department. She's a cultural anthropologist and ethnographer and has been working in northern Yucatan now for 20 years in the small community of Ekbalam, where we'll be visiting with local community members. And I am an archaeologist, and I work also in Yucatan now for more than a decade on archaeological sites there. And I just could not help but mentioning my book because it came out this week. Very exciting stuff. But we're going to be going down to the Yucatan Peninsula. We're right. Thank you, Giacomo. We're right here in Southern California. And of course, the Maya area is in southeastern Mesoamerica. We're going to be focusing on the northern lowlands, staying exclusively in Yucatan state, Mexico, but visiting a bunch of different sites in this region, flying into the capital city of Merida, and then traveling around to ancient sites and modern communities, as well as maybe a couple of beach trips on the side. We're down there in Yucatan, might as well. So Merida itself is a beautiful colonial era city with a lot of sites to see, from museums to modern arts and crafts centers, and just the beautiful architecture that has developed over the last 500 plus years. And there we'd be staying at the Casa Milsaps, which is owned and operated by the Racheal nonprofit organization that oversees a lot of the research infrastructure that I use in Yucatan. And we actually now have an international agreement in place between Dominguez Hills and the Racheal nonprofit organization, which will not only facilitate trips down there for educational purposes, but also for research purposes. And I'm going to get in touch with my colleagues about that more later. But it's an amazing opportunity to go around Merida, try the food, of course, visit a lot of the historical sites and the archaeological sites around the city. And then for part of the trip, we're going to go down to the town of Oshkutskab. Osh means 3, Kuts, turkey, and Kab, honey. In Yucatec Mayan, it's a colloquialism for a marketplace, and there's a really big marketplace there. And this just happens to be where our main archaeological compound is, where I go down every summer to have headquarters to do my archaeological field work around the peninsula. And so there's great accommodations there. We also have a pool, maybe not as grand as the one in Bulgaria, but still a nice place to cool off because it does get pretty hot down there. No way of getting around that. But from this base in Oshkutskab, we also have a big focus on food. Telma and Rita have been working with the project down there longer than I have, and they prepare some amazing local Yucatecan food every day. So we do eat pretty well while we're down there in Oshkutskab. From local Yucatecan stuff to broader Mexican cuisine. Just poke chuk is one of the local staples in Yucatan, just amazing. And from there, it's only about a 45-minute drive up into the Puig Hills, into the jungle, where there's the Racheal Biocultural Preserve, which preserves one of the archaeological sites in the region, but also helps to conserve ecological environmental resources. And so there's a nice view from the lookout tower of the broad valley of Kiwik, super heavily forested region, and archaeological sites all underneath that forest canopy, including the main site here, which is Kiwik, right near the compound that we have out there. So we could potentially stay out there in the jungle for a night or two while we're in Oshkutskab, and then visit all of the archaeological sites around there with private tours by me and some of my fellow archaeologists who work down there, who work at these sites, which many of them date to around 1,500 years old, but some of them are more than 3,000 years old. And a lot of them still have standing architecture just off there in the jungle that is very far away from the tourist path, but we work at these sites. So we'll be able to take you kind of behind the scenes to these sites that the usual tourists don't get to visit. And because of this new airborne laser scanning technology we're using, we're actually finding more and more of these sites with standing architecture that are out there yet to be visited. So it's always great to bring students down there to experience Maya culture, past and present. And in terms of present, I've been working with local community members down there for more than a decade. Some of my best friends are down there now, and it's a huge project, the archaeological work that I do. So we get to work with a ton of local guys from many of the communities. So the focus in Oshkutskab will be mainly on the Maya past, but there's also, of course, a lot of past in the present and present in the past. And then we're going to go across to Dr. Taylor's area around Ekbalam, where she's been working for a long time with local community members on a community-based tourism project, which is actually centered at the archaeological site right there, but working with community members, trying to make their way in different economic pursuits, whether it's building a hotel to house tourists to visit the site, whether it's preparing food, or now Dr. Taylor's actually working with people who are reviving the ancient beekeeping trends in terms of the local bee species called Melipona, which is local to Yucatán. The bees don't sting, and they produce a honey that's very citrusy. And then she's also working with communities that are performing as Maya warriors. It is a performance. They recognize that what they're doing is a cultural performance, but they're kind of drawing on research to understand how ancient Maya warriors would have dressed and acted and played the ancient Mesoamerican ball game, which was demonstrated on our campus at DH on Tuesday evening this week. Maybe some of you were able to stop by. But between going to Oshkutskab, Merida, Ekbalam, up to the coast, we're going to have a wide-ranging trip. So we're going to be down in Yucatan for 2 weeks of the Summer 2 session this summer. So the Summer 2 session is going to begin around July 8th and go till the middle of August. And in the middle of that 6-week span, we're going to go down to Yucatan for 2 weeks, into Merida, then down to Oshkutskab, then over to Ekbalam, and pretty much be able to experience everything that's down there over the course of these 2 weeks. Leading up to this 2 weeks, we'll have meetings via Zoom, and then afterwards we'll have more meetings via Zoom when we get back to the States to kind of round out the experience. But the main focus is going to be these 2 weeks down there where you get hands-on experience with archaeology and cultural anthropology as this summer session course of Anthropology 334. We're very excited about it. It's the first time we're going to be able to teach it in the field. So we very much look forward to many of you signing up and coming down there with us. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's all I have, but happy to answer any questions.
I know I want to go.
Oh, thanks, Giacomo. You're welcome.
I want to
Be in
go
touch.
behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I mean, no archaeological site fees, no waiting on lines. Can actually technically go on the architecture, but we'll be careful.
And congrats on the book, Ken.
Thank you. It's exciting.
Any more questions? Any questions? Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Seligson. We appreciate for sharing with us your future class that you're planning to teach in Yucatan. I think it would be exciting. Oh gosh, the food looked great. And I mean, that's going to be exciting. I mean, that would be one of the exciting part of student going there, I believe. So if no other questions, I believe this will be it. And I think one of the things I would like to encourage students to do who are here, reach out to us, reach out to the faculty if you're interested in any of their courses. And I believe we're going to be holding another information session for faculty. I really loved what all the faculty did. This was really great to put all that information together. And I know students like to hear directly from the faculty as well. So we'll keep in touch with the faculty, and we'll let you know when our next info session will be held. So thank you so much, Dr. Norman, Dr. Keyantash, Dr. Bono, and Dr. Seligson. We really appreciate for joining us and for sharing your study abroad program information. And not forgetting, we have Dr. Yi Ji Kim, who had joined us. Thank you for joining us. And thank you, students. I know we have Arwin, Edwin, and I think we had another student must have left. So thank you so much for all that you do. We appreciate it. And congrats to Dr. Seligson for your new book.
Thank you, Racheal. Thank you,
You're
everyone.
welcome.
Good to see you all.
Welcome. Okay.